Copyright disclaimer. Under Section 107 of the Copyright Act of 1976, allowances made for fair use, for purpose such as criticism, comment, news reporting, teaching, scholarship, and research. Fair use is a use permitted by copyright statutes that might otherwise be infringing. Non-profit, educational, or personal use tips in the balance of the favor of fair use. Welcome to Blended Healing. Welcome to episode 2 of The Ships, where we will be discussing all different types of ships, relationships. Tonight we're going to be talking about interrelationships. And what does that mean? Ashe? So when it comes to interrelationships, let me give you the definition of that. Interrelationships can be referred to a connection with God, creation, or other people. It can also mean a responsibility for all life and creation, and a desire to have prayerful relationship with God. It is also in spirituality. It is the interrelatedness that moves beyond human relationship and recognizing a relationship and a responsibility for the whole of God's creation and for the life, it all in creative forms. That's what the bookworm means in interrelationships. But let's take it deeper than that so we can get this thing. The definition of interrelationship is the way in which two or more things or people are connected and affect one another. Say, for instance, there is an interrelationship between smoking and respiratory disease. See how simple that is? One affects the other. So with that being said, let's break down of what, because let's talk about the awareness and some of the things that can be prevented and what a healthy relationship would look like in that interrelationship aspect. You feel me? All right. So when it comes to having a healthy relationship, remember that there is interrelationship. One affects the other. You must do something in order for it. It's like a cause and effect. One affects the other. So when you have a healthy relationship, what is the cause? You want to have honesty. You want to have trust. You want to have respect. You want to have open communication between the two of y'all, right? And that takes effort and compromise from both of you. So when there is no imbalance of power, partners, which is the other side of it, how that little bit right there can reflect what your relationship is. So the partners will respect each other's own independence. That's a result. They can make their own decisions without fear of retribution or retaliation. That's a result. They can share decisions. That's a result. If or when a relationship ends, there's no stalking or refusal to let the other partner go. Our relationship ends. The effect of it in negative terms would be stalking or refusing to let go. Do you understand the interrelationship between the two? When you have a healthy relationship, it's respect that is shown for privacy and space. Your partner will encourage you to spend time with friends without them. You'll feel comfortable expressing your opinions and your concerns. You'll feel physically safe, and your partner doesn't force you to have sex or to do things that make you feel uncomfortable. Your partner will respect your wishes and feelings, and you can compromise and negotiate when there are disagreements or conflicts. The interrelationships, cause and effect in the relationship, the connectedness in the relationship. One side of it leads to the other side. What is the foundation of a healthy relationship? It's boundaries. You and your partner are able to find ways to meet each other's needs in ways that both of y'all will feel comfortable with. Communication. You and your partner can share your feelings, even when you don't agree, in a way that makes the other person feel safe, heard, and not judged. See the intercorrelation between that cause and effect. Interrelationship. Trust. If you build on that trust, it may take time, but allows you all to be vulnerable with one another and knowing that you can rely on the other person. The most commonly used when you're sexually active is giving consent, which means that you're okay with what is happening and that no one is forcing you or guilting you into doing anything that you don't want to do. Consent can be given and taken back at any time. And giving consent once does not mean you automatically give consent in the future. You see how these things go hand in hand, hand in hand. The connectedness, the interrelationship of it. I want you to really get this down, and this is important. Keep in mind that in some abusive relationships, trying to enforce your boundaries, honest communications, trust, and any other healthy behavior could put you at risk with your safety. Remember that abuse is about power and control, and someone who is abusive might not want to give up their control over you. So be careful. If you feel like someone is disrespecting you or is being abusive, know that you're not alone and that there's ways that you can get help. And I'll tell you what that is at the end of this conversation on interrelationships. Ashe, Ashe. Nothing is more important than safety. Nothing. Now that we have covered that, let's get into the interrelationships about boundaries. When it comes to boundaries, it's like drawing a line. One side has the things that you're okay with, and the other side, those that you're not okay with. So don't feel ready for or make you uncomfortable. This line looks different for everybody. So it's important for you to know where your needs to be drawn. Setting boundaries is a way to teach your partner about your needs and let you know when something doesn't feel right. You are allowed to put your needs before somebody else, especially if their needs make you uncomfortable. So, what can you do about your boundaries? Think about the different types of boundaries that you can have within a relationship. The physical. Are you okay with public displays of affection? Does affection make you uncomfortable? Do you hate it or love it when your partner tickles you? Do you need a lot of alone time? What about your emotions? Are you able to share what you're feeling right away, or do you need some time to think about it? Do you need your partner to be available anytime you have a crisis? When you're ready to say, I love you, are you okay with that? Let's talk about the sex. Do you need to get to know your partner a while before engaging in any type of sexual activity? Or are you okay of getting physical right away? What type of sexual activity are you okay with? Digital. Are you always posting your relationship status? Is it okay with your partner to use your phone? Do you want to share passwords with your partner? Material. Do you like sharing your stuff? Are you okay paying for your partner or vice versa? When it comes to the spiritual aspect, do you like to practice your religion with a partner or alone? Does your partner need to have the same beliefs as you, or can you be different from each other? And if that's the case, is that respected? Are you waiting until marriage or a commitment before you have sex? You got to let your partner know what your boundaries are. You don't have to sit down with your partner with a checklist of all the things that make you uncomfortable, but you do have to be open and honest. Okay? Interrelationship, cause and effect. Some of these things might come up early in the relationship, like if you're a virgin, you don't want to have sex until you're ready. Some of these things may not come up for a minute. Like if your partner wants to share passwords after dating for 6 months. When your needs are different than your partner's, having a conversation, you don't need to give an explanation. It may be awkward, but having a tough conversation is part of having a healthy relationship. When your partner listens to you and respects you, it builds trust. Recognize when the line has been crossed. Sometimes the boundaries that we create will get crossed even after you talked about it with your partner. And this is where trusting yourself comes in. You may be sad, you might be anxious or stressed out or angry, or you may not know exactly what you're feeling, but always trust your gut instincts. If something doesn't feel right to you, then it ain't. Respond. Say, for instance, a boundary has been crossed by your partner who didn't know where your line was drawn. Have an honest conversation. It could be something like, hey, I really don't like it when you blank. That makes me really feel uncomfortable. Do you think next time you can blank instead? This might take some time going back and forth before coming to an agreement that meets both of y'all needs. But your relationship will be stronger because of it. If a boundary has been crossed, even though you have already been clear about your boundaries, this might be abuse. Crossing a line might be obvious. Like if you say no to having sex, but your partner uses physical force to make you do something that you don't want to do. But it can also be more subtle, like if your partner guilts you into something, begs you until you give in, or threatens to break up with you and let you do what they want. That's abuse. Let's talk about this communication thing. Open and honest communication is an important part of every relationship because it allows you to share who you are and what you need from the people that are around you. If there's no communication, right? How can you find any common ground? How can you get away from problems or misunderstandings and hurt feelings if there's no communication? You have to be open and clear about how you are feeling. If you don't understand something, tell them, use the I statement so that the other person doesn't feel like you blaming or attacking them. Don't say you. Say I feel that, so on and so forth. You got to be honest. Even if you think that the other person may not like hearing what you are truly saying or how you truly feel, apologize when you're wrong or hurt the other person. When you're talking about something negative into relationship, mention something positive. You got to pay attention without distraction. Put the phone away. Put it on the hook. When the other person is talking, listen to what they're saying instead of just thinking about how to respond. Wait for them to finish talking before you start saying something. Using acknowledging statements like interesting to let them know that you hear what they're saying. Ask questions if you don't understand something. Avoid confusion and misunderstanding. Don't leave them hanging. If you need to think about what they say before responding, tell them that. Be prepared to hear something that you don't like and really think about it before you respond. If you can. And I know that we have a difficult time doing this, but I don't understand that when you're in a partnership. But hence it happens. Make eye contact, all right? Face them, give them your full attention, and lean into it as they are speaking. You don't have to have an important conversation over a text message or online. What the fuck? Like for real, for real. When you're chatting online, focus on the conversation instead of being distracted by other things or having multiple other conversations. If you can't respond, let the other person know so you don't leave them hanging. I'm just saying. Where and when you should have that important conversation has to be a place where you're calm or you take some time to cool down if you had a fight. Talk about your concerns before they become problems and before it gets worse. Make sure that you're open. Make sure that you're talking privately so you can be open with your feelings. And if you feel as though your partner doesn't do these things or might be emotionally abusing you, be careful when using these tips, all right? Be careful. Trust. Trust in the interrelationship. You know that it takes time to build trust. And while it could be hard to trust someone, especially if your trust has been broken in the past, you can't blame your current partner for something that somebody else did. You have to be reliable. If you need your partner to listen to you because you're having a bad day, or if you needed a ride home from work or from school or college or whatever, would they be there for you? Or would you be there for them? When you tell your partner that something makes you feel uncomfortable, do they respect that? Does it go both ways? Does your partner tell you how they feel instead of you just giving you the silent treatment? Do you tell your partner how you feel and make an effort to talk things through? If you made a mistake, would you tell your partner? Would your partner tell you? You got to walk the walk, baby. Just don't talk the talk. If you're going to be in there, do what you say and say what you mean. Here comes that thing circling back again that I want to talk about. It's called consent. Consent. Consent is an agreement between two people given through words or actions that they are both clearly and enthusiastically willing to engage in sexual activity. Silence or lack of resistance does not count as consent. Some people aren't able to give consent, such as individuals who are drunk, sleeping, or unconscious, and some people with intellectual disabilities. Consent involves active communication and knowing that one person always has the right to withdraw consent. This means that someone can consent to one activity, or like kissing, but not consent to have sex. Consent, like sex, should be about respecting each other to make their own decisions about their body. Getting consent can be simple. It's all about communication. You can talk about boundaries before engaging in sexual activity. But you should also regularly check in with a simple, is it okay? To ensure that everybody that's involved is comfortable with what's going on with you. I want to thank you for stopping by Blended Healing as we talked about this interrelationship thing. You know, we'll be back next week, next Tuesday. It depends. Life is lifing right now. So the major announcement that I had is just on pause for right now. All right. All right. Now, if you have any questions or anything like that, or you want to discuss anything further, you know that you can reach me out on email at shamakaessentialblends@gmail.com. I want to thank you for stopping by tonight, for giving me your attention for a little bit. Be well, stay safe, Ashe, and deep bow. It's right here.